Welcome to the second video on the basics of product design. Today we're discussing what tools product designers use.
This is Design Education with Mia Tahan.
Product designers need different tools to test, research, and explain their ideas. The first tool we use is sketching. It's an important part of being a designer who's able to communicate ideas. It's also a great tool to use during ideation because you can try out different variations or details of the product by sketching them. It's also a good way of taking notes from the senior designer or from a client during a meeting, and also quickly saving an idea that you can later come back to. I'm still working on the sketching because I'm not great at it, so it's a work in progress. Don't feel too bad if that's not your best part or if any of these tools aren't your strong suit. It's always things that you can work on, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad designer. It's also a great tool to have when you're discussing ideas with clients in a meeting, when you can quickly take a paper and a pen and show, the different directions that the client is talking about. It can be very impressive and the client can feel understood. The next tool is 3D modeling. 3D modeling is an amazing skill. It's a great way of showing details, systems, and intricate parts of your design. It's really a tool that you don't want to leave unused. It's the first step towards 3D printing, so once you know how to create 3D models, you can create 3D printed products. 3D modeling is also the first step to rendering, and rendering is a tool used to create realistic scenes or versions of your product. Some of them look so real that it feels like you're looking at a picture in a magazine. So this tool is useful for showing your clients exactly what the product is going to look like. You can show your client by moving the 3D model around and turning all around it. Today, there are companies who've developed software that you can use in VR that enable you to import your models, your 3D models of your products, and put them in a space so that you can show your clients or your users or your buyers all the different sides of your product, and it basically feels like they have it between their hands. So it's definitely a tool that you want to use. There are many different software that you can use to model on. I use Rhino because that's the one that my school taught me to use, but I'm also working on Blender because I think that it's a really great software. It's also free. You can do lots of different things with it. I'm still figuring out the logic behind it, but I'm getting there. You can also use Maya, you can use SketchUp. There are a lot of different software, and it just depends on what you're looking for. Next tool is rendering. So as I said before, rendering is a great way of showing a realistic version of your product. In my opinion, clients really need to see what you mean, and when you try to explain a product with using your words, sometimes it can seem very abstract and they can start imagining a product that you're not going to produce, and that can lead to disappointment or to miscommunication. A great way of avoiding these situations is by rendering your product. So you're using materials, you're creating a scene, textures, colors, just everything that's going to be part of your product is in a render, and that way your client has exactly what you mean in front of them, and they can tell you what they were expecting and what changes they'd like to see. It's also a great way for yourself during the design process to test out different textures and color variations on the product. Renders can be perfected on Photoshop as well, so you can touch them up, add some light, add some shadows. Next tool is prototyping. Prototyping is my favorite part, so you can use prototyping during your ideation phase as well. So when you have a few ideas, you can test out the ergonomics of the product, the usability, and you can all test them out by using foam or paper or cheap materials that'll basically help you have all these different versions of your product, and you can test out to see which one feels the best in your hand, or which one works the best. Later on, for your final prototype, you can use real materials or similar materials, your product's materials, to actually see what the limits of these materials are and what the possibilities are. So this tool is used to test the product, test its strength, durability, and usability. So you really want to try and see if the product is going to be useful, if the product is going to be functional. So you really want to create a prototype that'll be almost exactly like the reality. So that's a great way of making sure that everything works. The next thing is crowd testing. Crowd testing is a great way of also taking criticism before your product hits the market. and then that way you can improve your product's performance before people actually decide whether or not they want to buy it. That way you have your bad reviews in advance, and you can take that into account before you put yourself out there. So I'd like to take a second and welcome my new subscribers. I see this channel is growing, and that's awesome. I hope you guys are learning new things. Don't hesitate to ask your industrial design questions down in the comments so that I can answer them next time. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and I'll see you later.